Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Sword of the Stars. I'm Sakne, and we just researched Fusion, so let's take a look at all the new shiny toys we can build. Okay, well actually this is this is interesting. Translate Trade Creole. These are the Morgi. Ah, I didn't see that. So we have found the Morgi. The Morgi are down here. Okay, so this is what their ship icons look like, by the way. They're headed for this planet, which is actually in pretty good shape, but it's got a gate, so I don't have to worry about that yet. Okay, let's look at the rest of our toys. So, in construction, we can now move higher up. Obviously, we need to fill out the rest of this branch here. Let's talk about all of these, because so salvage I talked about. Polysilica alloys. This will improve the resistance of your ships to ballistic weapons. There are many more of these that you can get if you're lucky. There's also an equivalent line of technologies here that we did not get access to this game because we're the dumb hivers, and they improve your resistance to lasers. And there are weapons. So if you know that your opponent is going for mass drivers, then you want to equip your ship with this. It'll make your ships more expensive, but much more efficient against that type of weaponry. Okay, and we got orbital dry docks, which is a great economic technology. Reduces the construction costs of cruisers and dreadnoughts by 5%. So those are very good. Okay, we've talked about all of these here. Gate amplifiers. Okay, so this is in our short star drives tech, but remember, we're hivers. We don't actually have star drive, but we have gates. So what this technology does is it increases the capacity that each gate gives you by 3. So they already give me 3 each. I must have, 23 of them, I guess, 69, right? So this is going to double if I research that technology. So that's important because until I go and build gates elsewhere, I won't be able to move a fleet that takes more than 69 gate traffic. And destroyers take 1 gate traffic, and cruisers take 6. That's right, they take 6. So I couldn't move a fleet that's more than 10 ships big. 10 cruisers big, which is kind of small. So I definitely am going to want to research this sooner rather than later. Okay, we got fusion warheads, which will increase the damage to my missile weapons. I still haven't upgraded them, but there were some technologies here to upgrade them in the fission age, but now I just have even better technology. In our engines, we get access to a few things. So long-range fusion is a unique hiver engine. It's a unique hiver technology. It gives you a new engine section which just has longer range, so it means you can send like a gate out very long distances without any tanker support. Plasma focusing is available to everybody, and it does the same thing, increases the range. Microfusion drives increases missile speed. So if you're going to go for missiles, you definitely want this. It makes them go twice as fast, so that means less time for point defense to shoot them down. More importantly, it gives you access to a new kind of point defense weapon later on, which is good against torpedoes. We'll talk about that later. And here is the next tier, antimatter, which comes after fusion. As you can see, it's 79 turns to complete, so we're not ready to tackle that quite yet. Now, unlucky me, I did not get any fusion torpedoes or fusion cannons or shields or any kind of other thing. Now, doesn't mean I have no chance of getting them. If I research these torpedoes or these cannons here, there's actually still quite a good chance that I'll get the next one up. But it's possible sometimes to get them directly from the engine tech, which didn't happen. So that's too bad. Okay, so like I said, we're going to go for trade first. And we're going to build our trade fleet up. Unknown menace. So something strange has happened here. What was it? The Herald. Darn. So the Herald is a special event, and what it does is it reduces, well, it's a big bad guy that will beat up whatever's in orbit, but it reduces the morale of your of that system by a lot. I haven't talked about morale yet. Morale is actually very important. So let's talk about it now, actually. So morale, each system has morale, and you can see what it is by hovering over the number here. I mean, you can, if you have good eyes, you can actually read this number, but you can hover over it, okay? If you go on this button, no, it's not here. Where is it? Where is... Oh, don't want to abandon the colony. That's if you wanted to scrap the colony. Where is that setting? Management. Yes, this is the button I wanted. Okay, so this will give you sort of a history of morale events. So if you want to know what happens, what events affect morale, this is where you figure it out. So the basic rule is building a new colony increases morale. Winning a space battle increases morale. Losing a space battle decreases morale. And significantly, once your population runs up to the limit, which is set by this slider, then as the population tries to grow, but it can't, that reduces morale. So at the beginning of the game, you've got like a buffer period until you reach this point, and then your morale starts to become an issue. Now, you could increase this slider, but if you go over 50%, you start to eat into the resources, and those are sort of the permanent non-renewable resources. So I don't like to do that, but you could choose to do that. Now, there are other ways of increasing morale. One way of increasing morale is if your economy brings in over $1 million, whatever, credits per turn, then you get a +1 to morale. So that will offset this decrease that we saw here. And I think there's a next tier. I think if you bring in 5 million, it increases it by 2. I don't remember actually the that exact detail. But so we don't bring in 1 million yet. I mean, we do bring in 1 million, but that's not. How should I say this? We have too much like planetary development and stuff. So our economy isn't big enough, basically. We have to grow our economy. You can also build some special ships. Actually, since we have fusion, we have access to some new... Or maybe we don't yet. Or we're about to, actually. Oh, no, it's because we need to be in cruiser mode. Okay. All right, I lied. We still don't have access to these. You can build a ship which is called Propaganda, and it'll increase morale in your systems or decrease it in enemy systems. You can also build police cutters, which you send to individual systems, and they don't boost morale. They reduce the things that diminish morale. So if you're caught in a bad situation, you can try to use those. All right, so this is weird. So I guess he was sending 2 scouts. Fair enough, but it's only 1 ship, so we're still safe. And here's what happens if you have too low morale. Your ship your system goes into rebellion. When it's in rebellion, it's not contributing anything to your empire, and it'll take a few turns to restore peace, and when you restore peace, you lose a bit of infrastructure and population and whatnot. So, what can happen easily is, say, you overextend your empire, then you start losing battles because you can't maintain it, and your empire can essentially collapse due to bad morale and rebellions everywhere. Okay. Let's get trade going. Alright, we're gonna win this fight, so I'm not worried. Boom. See, our gate didn't even get scratched. Actually, even if it did get scratched, it would have been repaired by this planet anyways. Oh, I'm sorry. The thing I said about the morale and the revenue, it's not... Oh, what's this? Independent colony. Oh no, okay, so they rebelled so bad they decided to become an independent colony. Okay, that can happen. That's unfortunate. We'll get it back. Usually they just come back. We'll convince them by parking ships in orbit. Actually, let's see if that works. This is a pretty puny fleet, but you never know. If not, we'll just bomb them and rebuild the colony. I mean, we'll lose the population, but the infrastructure is intact and it's already been terraformed. Okay, so what I was going to say is that you need to have... It's how much you have in your treasury at the beginning of the turn. So if you have over 1 million at the beginning of the turn, then you'll get the +1 to morale. I think. So we'll actually check. Okay. I'm going to lose some ships here, I think. I had 9 armors. Let's see what I end up with. Actually, I didn't lose that much. So, each turn they have a chance to decide to join me. I'm going to now move my fleet here to repair it. Okay, and we got trade finally. Okay, so I'm just going to set my research. Oh, actually, I wanted mega freighters. So, let's talk about trade. Okay, control space. Now you see the trade sectors that are available to me. All of them are green because I've explored and or control, and there are no enemy ships in control of all the systems in each of these boxes. If there was, then this would be unlocked and I could see which system I need to go take a look at. So you don't need to, like, see this independent colony I don't control, and it's, it's associated to one of these sectors probably, or better example here. That's fine. I'm in control enough for the trade sector to be active. Okay, now that these sectors are secure, we have a new tab here, trade. So I have a list of all the systems where trade can take place. And if I move the slider, like here, in Krelar, if I move the slider one to the right, now I've opened up trade routes. Okay? So here there are 4 planets, so 4 routes. How much space is there for freighters? Well, each notch here gives you 5 freighters. Okay? Now, the trade route won't start giving you money until I think it's 3 turns after you've adjusted this slider. So, in order to make money from this, we have to build freighters in these systems and increase the number of trade routes. Now, as I increase this slider to the right, remember this planet now, whatever, 20 or 30% of its economy is now going to trade and not to ship construction. So it's going to build ships a lot slower. Now, as a general rule, you don't want to start messing with the slider until your planet's done terraforming and infrastructure growing. So we're actually almost done here. Next term it'll be done terraforming. You can tell generally by looking at how far the notches are to the left. If the notches are still way to the right, that means your planet has a ways to go. So let's look at this first one over here. See, I could tell because it's not there. But this guy's almost done because all the notches are kind of well aligned to the left. This guy here, also done because they're squeezed as much as they could be to the left. And that's pretty much it. So the population of your system determines how many of these trade routes you can have, and also the number of other systems in the trade sector. So that's why we wanted to colonize everything, because that'll give us more trade routes. Okay, now we need to build freighters. So in design, I can build a destroyer freighter. I don't get to specify the other sections. I could put a little bit of weapons on it. I don't worry about it though. And this will be a destroyer freighter. Now a destroyer freighter is pretty cheap. It costs 40,000, but it doesn't bring in as much revenue as a cruiser freighter. Now I can't build the cruiser freighters yet because I need to research mega freighters. I'm actually going to wait until I get mega freighters and build those. And the reason is because I'm lazy. Because what's going to happen is, if I have only destroyer freighters, well, if I have some destroyer freighters, eventually I'm going to want to replace them with cruiser freighters because they bring in more money, and then I'm going to have to delete them and rebuild them, and it's just a pain. So it's certainly not optimal to do it this way, but I don't feel like doing all the micromanagement. So we're just going to wait until we get cruiser freighters. Okay, so here I'm doing peace because I only have my gate and I don't want it to get blown up. And then I'm going to send my fleet back. Oh, here's a good time to check actually. So I have 1 million out of curiosity. No events. That's kind of weird. There we go. So see, turn 97 and turn 98, Imperial savings of 1 million or more. Okay, so this offsets the morale losses that I get. Alright, looks like the Terrans have showed up again, and we are in big trouble. So I knew this was going to happen. I was hoping it wasn't going to happen this early. So the humans have attacked. So I know this because they sent 12 ships. Now, I could be really lucky, and maybe they've only sent destroyers. I don't have any scanning, so I just really can't tell. Problem with the humans is they're so fast, they're going to get their next turn, so I don't really have much warning. So, panic mode engaged. What do I do? The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can get some decent ships out, and I'm going to change my technology to actually get my weapons technology. Right now, I can pump out ships, but they're shooting really primitive weapons. I won't have time to build ships elsewhere and gate them in. Fortunately, the planet they're attacking is quite developed, so this planet could build ships to defend itself. Now, I have actually, there's a bigger priority, which is data synergy, which is the bigger command and control. So I'm really behind in this military technology, so we'll see if I can survive this. This planet is probably not going to survive, but maybe we'll be lucky. Alright. My cruisers are going to suck anyways, so I'm not even going to try. What I am going to do is build little orbiting platforms. I'm going to give them 2-point defense each, because the humans have a tendency to have missiles on their first... Actually, most people tend to have missiles on their first ships. Okay, so I can build all this for next turn. The 10 is the maximum that you can build. Now, maybe I could even put cruiser size defense platforms. Also a lot of missiles, and let's put 2-point defenses on them too. No, I can't. So the ship, the system isn't big enough to handle those. Okay, we'll build more of these. Actually, you know what's better is I'm going to build a gate ship, because if I'm lucky, I'll survive enough and I can redeploy a gate. Now, if I was really seriously thinking of defeating this, I would be building tons of stuff in all my other systems so I could warp it in next turn. The problem is I just don't have the technology to build any useful things. So I'm just going to be sacrificing land until I can sort of reclaim it and reconquer it. Let's see what happens. Okay, friendly here, and damn it. Okay, so they're cruisers. They are not destroyers, like I was hoping we'd be lucky. Okay, now let's fight this so you can see how. I want to show you guys how badly I'm gonna get trounced. So maybe we'll be lucky, and they'll have forgotten to bring command ships. This is very unlikely, though. And keep in mind, even though I have my fleet here, all of these armor ships, they're like all point defense, right? Because their goal was to fight the Silicoid Queen. So they're like really useless against cruisers, unless they happen to be 100% missile shooting cruisers, which is very unlikely. Okay. And one nice thing that you can exploit is that the AI, when you're Hiver, will always go for your gate first. They're just going to beeline right for it. So now they're going to shoot my ships as they go by, but it won't be their main target. So let's just see if they come with 6, if they come with 6 or if they come with 2. So I sped it up a bit. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this is bad. This is very bad. Okay, so they look like fusion. They look like just armor sections, basically. I'm just trying to scout quickly. Okay, this is their command and control with all the antennas on it. Fortunately, they were using a lot of missiles, as I suspected. So far they haven't hit anything, even though I have 6 cruisers and I've got like 9 destroyers. they haven't landed a single blow because they're all shooting missiles. But they've actually got real weapons too, so... Alright, I'm going to move in now. I'm going to tell my guys to pursue. And we're going to go for the command and control ship. Now, the reason we do that is because if we destroy another one of these ships, then they're just going to be able to warp in reinforcements right away, because they're at like 30 of 36. But if I destroy the command ship, that's a big if, then they're in sort of command deficit, which means that they won't be able to warp in new ships unless they have another command ship. But then that guy's going to warp in way at the back, so that gives me like a little bit of time to survive. Okay, so looks like they've got some plasma cannons. See, notice how I've banged up his engine section pretty badly already, and like these destroyers are like 2 Gauss cannons each, right? It's pretty pathetic. So, really weak engine sections on the humans. They're shooting a lot of missiles, but my gate is in bad shape. Lost one gun already. If I could just... Alright, engines are down. Now the engines being down actually means that he can't control his direction anymore. He can't. So if he was heading towards the planet and you kill his engines, he's just going to crash right into the planet, which is kind of funny to watch. Unfortunately, they finally killed my gate, which means that now they're going to turn and try to kill all my other ships. And even though I can shoot down most of their missiles, I can't shoot down, you know, their other weapons, their other guns. Okay, we're almost done on the command ship. If this is the only command ship that they brought with their fleet, then amazingly I might survive this, because in their subsequent battles they'll only be able to send two ships at a time. Boom. Alright, let's see if we can work on some of these other guys. Like you here. They're focusing on this other gate. I'm tempted to sort of tell him to run away, but if he stays close to my other ships, then I can shoot down all the missiles with my point defense. Notice how their guns are like completely missing my ships. So they're using those green blobs are fusion cannons. They're not very accurate though, and my destroyers, even though they're only fission powered, you know, destroyers are pretty nimble compared to cruisers. So So they're just basically completely missing all of their shots. Boom. Oh, I haven't checked to see if they reinforced. So far they haven't shown up with another command cruiser. Now maybe it's very slow, but I think they probably only brought one. So we've been really lucky because, right, I said at the beginning, either they brought all destroyers, which would have been more of a fair fight, or they've brought cruisers that you shot only missiles, and that's essentially what we have here. We have cruisers that shoot only missiles. Now, see, I told my guys to shift. I'm telling them to go after a different target. The reason I'm giving up on this target is because he has no engines. And mass drivers, one of the cool things about them is that they impart momentum, right? There's kind of physics in this game. So I've basically pushed him this way, and he can do nothing to come back. So he's basically completely out of the fight. Fortunately, I didn't push him towards the planet, but hey, we'll take what we can get, right? So I've lost a ship, obviously, because I've lost a couple of ships. But honestly, the fact that I'm even alive at this point is quite surprising to me. Alright, looks like I'm still firing on this guy. Any signs of weakness? Yes. Alright, I heard a little click, which means we have 20 seconds left, and I'm gonna hope that I can take out the ship before the timer is gone. Go, Gauss cannons! Ten seconds. Don't miss. He's barely moving. You can do it. Just die already. Yes! With 3 seconds to spare. And so we survived the first human assault. Just barely. And honestly, we were very lucky. So, alright, I'm going to cut the video here, and in the next few turns, we're going to have to figure out what to do about this. See you guys in a bit.